Uh, so I think we have to be clear what optimism is. When I describe myself as an optimist, uh, people's immediate reaction is that I'm naive or blind. Optimism is neither. It is not to be confused with blind positivity. Everything's fine, everything's good, or the obsession with focusing on the things that are working and ignoring the things that are broken. In leadership, this is dangerous. There's a lot of leaders who think that they have to be positive all the time so that their teams will be positive, even when things around them are difficult. And that actually backfires, to be honest, because when people are struggling and people are finding it hard to be positive in the day, and your leader comes in and is like, everything's great, it actually makes us feel worse because we think there's something wrong with us. Optimism is very realistic. It allows for frustration and sadness. It can allow for sadness, difficulty, but it's the undying belief that the future is bright. So an optimist would say, we are in a dark tunnel. I do not know how long we're going to be in here, and it will be difficult, but I know one thing for sure. If we work together and take care of each other, we will get through this and we will come out of this stronger than we went in. And I still firmly believe that if we work together and we find ways through, that we will come out of this stronger than we went in. And I do believe the future is bright. You have to remember that human animals are social animals. And one of the disadvantages, I just as an aside, I believe the world is balanced. I don't believe in strengths or weaknesses, for example. So you can take companies or human beings. When people are like, what are your strengths? What's your biggest weakness? That famous interview question. Well, I'm a perfectionist. I work too hard. I believe that there's no such thing as strengths and weaknesses. We have characteristics and we have attributes. And in some contexts, there are advantages and strengths. In some contexts, there are weaknesses and liabilities. And what you have to know is what your characteristics and attributes are, and you have to know the context in which they're either, and avoid the ones where they're liabilities and try to put yourself in ones where they're strengths. And I think the same is true here. We have to remember that human beings are social animals, and what makes us happy, what makes us live longer, what makes us healthier is human interaction. And over the course of the past couple of decades, with the rise of technology, we've seen a decline in the human skills we need for this. There's an irony to this, which is cats don't have to work very hard to be cats. They're just good at it. But it actually takes a lot of work to be good at being human. And we aren't doing that work. And we can see it. It used to be a time where when we read the news, the horrible news, we would call a friend and we would vent our anger or sit in our sadness. Our friend could hold space for us while we went through this process, right? Now what's happening is we see the news and then we go online and we vent our anger or express our sadness in the open for the world to see, right? And then what's happening is people are reacting to our reactions. The more that you feel that someone has your back, the more that you feel in relationship, the more that you feel your colleagues, your coworkers, your leaders see you as a human being, the more at peace you feel and the more open you are to allowing, the more peace you feel that someone will be there for you, and that is what generates optimism. It's the quality of relationships. And for all the benefits of technology, and I love technology, we cannot forget that we are legacy animals living in a modern world, and we have to do the work to foster relationship. And great companies do that. Great companies do that. Again, I'll go back to what I said before. It is neither a good thing nor a bad thing. It depends on what we do with it, how we deploy it, and how responsible we are with it. Can it be a threat to the human condition? Of course. I think we've seen that. I mean, if you saw the movie Her, I mean, that's becoming a real thing where people will have relationships with an AI bot. But the problem is that AI bot is having simultaneous relationships with millions of people. So how special are you? But it can make you feel special. We already have words for this. We saw this with Facebook. It's called a parasocial relationship, where you have all of the feelings of like, oh my God, I'm in love, this person cares about me, but on the other side is nothing. If everybody has fake relationships, at some point it's going to collapse. Again, there's a hubris that human beings have, which is we think we're above nature, we forget we're a part of it. And at the end of the day, we only know what we know, and what we don't know is way vaster. And we are pretty junk at making predictions. I mean, let's be honest. All the predictions of what the internet would be. I remember they were saying that the death of bricks and mortar. Meanwhile, Amazon's opening stores and Rent the Runway, they're opening stores, they have stores, because we're forgetting the very human nature, which is we like gathering and hunting, like we like browsing, we actually enjoy it. Anybody who's in retail knows this. That's why they keep moving things around in the store. Things are never exactly where they used to be. They move them because we like to go looking. People in retail know this. So I think we always forget the humanness of things. And at the end of the day, we crave relationship. We need relationship. I think we have to be careful with trust barometers because they're relative. Just because we don't trust in government doesn't mean we love corporations, right? It's a relative scale.
Yeah.
All it means is our trust in government and public institutions is so low.
We feel good about the business.
That I can't believe that corporations are number one. It is ironic
so true.
that people trust in business more. But I think we have to take it in context. I also think we have to consider how we view companies these days. And by the way, this also puts pressure on companies, which is if you go back a few decades, our lives were sort of distributed and where we got all of our needs. So, for example, you got your sense of community from the bowling league. You got your sense of sort of purpose from church. We had neighbors that we actually had barbecues with our neighbors on the weekends. And work was a place that you were loyal to work and work was loyal to you, and you worked until you got your gold watch. And as an aside, I will stand on stages and I will ask a group of people who doesn't know what I'm talking about, and like all the young hands have no idea what I'm talking about. Like literally that metaphor is lost on an entire generation. But we would give our lives, and by the way, there was trust both ways. The company would take care of us and we would take care of them. Now, over the course of time, we've seen the bowling leagues disappear. We've seen church attendance decline. And what we're now asking our companies to do, asking our work to do, is we want them to fill the gaps. We need you to now offer me a sense of purpose. We need you to offer me a sense of community. Now we need you to agree with my politics as well. And this massive pressure on companies to fulfill all these human needs, which it's not a good thing or a bad thing. It is a thing. And so companies have to respond. And so I think the fact that people find a lot of those things at work, it probably increases the level of trust. So that's one of the positive sides. I would love to believe that we should trust government more. I guess I'm an idealist. I think, these things are cyclical. I think world events will affect them. After September 11th, we saw public trust skyrocket. So, I don't think it's fixed. I think it'll wax and wane over the course of time. I went back, to the beginning of humankind and anthropology and how we lived, and overlaid the biology of human decision-making and human trust and the anthropological necessities of trust on a corporate environment. And so our need to feel safe, to feel psychological safety in the places we live and work, is a basic biological constant. It hasn't changed and it won't change. So who is already built into the system? Why is that underlying purpose cause of relief? Why you get out of bed in the morning? Why your organization exists? Why should anyone care? How are the values, the actions you take to bring your cause to life? And what are the tangible manifestations of your actions? Your product, for example, your advertising, your public, anything I can see, touch, or feel, even your metrics. And in combination, those things make you who you are. And when one of those things is out of balance, it's like I don't know who you are anymore. So if you're only driven by numbers and you have no sense of purpose, people will lose your identity. I don't know what you stand for, right? But if all you are is purpose and you get nothing done, then same thing, which is it's a hippie commune which advances nothing. And again, I won't know what your purpose is because I can't see you doing anything in the world. So if those three things are aligned, that is who you are. That is exactly what's supposed to happen. I think your point about who does the work is an interesting one. And I would, because that's tangible, like who physically is going to do that task, I think that fits on the outside. So if you go back to your cause and your values, those decisions should run through that filter first. And if AI can help with that filter, then great.